In this section, we want to look at solving applied linear equations. We've already covered the techniques that we would need to solve these problems manually, but rather than solve them manually, we're going to be looking at using an online tool called Symbolab, which is accessible at symbolab.com. This site is completely free. There are some paid packages, things you can subscribe to. If anything prompts you for that, please feel free to just delete it. You shouldn't have to pay for anything to do what we're doing for this course. But we will look at how we can use that free tool, or the free version of that tool, to help us answer some questions, either using it as a calculator or using it as a tool to solve equations and tackle some more complicated math problems for us. We want to start off by looking at simple percent problems. For each of these problems, there's a general format that we'll follow for setting these up. Simple percent problems consist of a total amount times some percentage, which is equal to some smaller part of that original total, that whole. So we're going to look for those three values. We'll be given 2, and then one piece will be missing. It'll be up to us to determine how to set up that equation. We'll use technology to solve or evaluate that for us, and then up to us to interpret that answer and what its meaning is. So in example 1, Salvador took his parents to dinner at their favorite restaurant. The bill was $133.53. He always leaves 19% of the total bill as a tip. We're going to use Symbolab to find out how much his tip should be. Again, we'll do that by identifying the total, the percent, and the part. One of those will be missing. In this case, we have the total bill, which was $133.53. So that's our total amount. We know that he's going to want to tip 19%, so that's our percent. And then there's some part, and in this case, that's the missing piece of information. How much is he going to tip? We know that the tip is going to be smaller than that total bill, so it's that part that's missing on the right-hand side of the equation. In order to set this up then, we're going to take that total of $133.53 times 19%. Whatever that answer is will be that part that's missing, that missing piece of information, and that'll be the tip in this case. It's generally easier for solving problems like this with a calculator or Symbolab, as we'll see in a moment, to take any percents and convert them to decimals. So this will be 0.19. Now we'll flip over to Symbolab to see, in this case, we're not solving anything, we're really just evaluating something. A calculator could do this as well. Using this on a tablet or a phone, whenever you click into the answer entry box, you'll get this palette of tools that pops up you can use, or you can just type things in directly. In this case, we need to evaluate 133.53 times 0.19. Again, in this case, we're really just using this like a calculator. We press enter or click go, and we get an answer of 25.3707. There's an intuitive step we need to take at this point to know that what we're calculating is a tip, meaning a dollar amount. Money problems are always going to have exactly 2 decimal places. Even if an answer doesn't tell us to use that rounding specifically, it's going to be up to us to understand that. So we should know that this means that tip would round to $25.37. In any other practical scenario like that, it's going to be up to us to infer that rounding. For instance, if we were calculating a number of people, we can't have a fraction of a person. We're going to know to automatically round money-based answers to 2 decimal places. But in other scenarios, we'll be given rounding rules. For instance, if what we're calculating is a percent, like we're going to find in example 2, there will be rounding rules provided on formal assessments. So in example 2, we'll take a look at this one. Daryl gets paid $2,001.06 per month. If 1 month's rent costs $784, we want to use Symbolab to find what percent of their monthly pay goes to rent. We want to, again, identify those three values in the equation that we set up above. His pay per month is the total amount. The $784 he pays for rent is some smaller part of that. And then what's missing is the percent. So we'll set this up as 2001.06 times x, which is our unknown, is equal to 784. What we're going to do is ask Symbolab to solve this for us. Not by downloading like I just did, but by typing in solve 2001.06 x equal to 784. So this is a relatively simple one to solve just with a calculator, but again, we want to show how we can use Symbolab so that as we get into more complicated problems throughout the course of the semester, we can see how this technology could benefit us. So we set up that statement with solve and then the equation we want to solve, and then Symbolab will give us that solution, in this case in both fraction form and decimal form. We want to answer as a percent, so we want that decimal answer of 0.39179. That's an unrounded answer. It's just giving us the first several decimal places there. And then if we wanted to round this to say, well, first we need to convert this to a percent. We would do that by shifting the decimal place 2 spaces. And if we wanted to round this to 2 decimal places, round that percent to 2 decimal places, our final answer would be 39.18%. So Daryl pays a little over 39% of his monthly income towards his rent.